And now on to a fantastic debate that I'm sure is going to get you going. The video game industry generates over £5 million every year. But according to the World Health Organization, there's significant risk of addiction, with hundreds of teens around the country checking into rehab to help them kick the video game habit.
So, should video games come with health warnings? Well, let's speak now to the journalist and mum, Julie Cook, who's in the studio with us now, who believes gaming causes antisocial behaviour, and Lisa Dallman, the mother of gaming champion Jayden Ashman, who thinks gaming can create happy, healthy and successful lives. So good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Julie, let's start with you. So do you believe, well, clearly you believe, that video games are addictive? Should they come with health warnings?
I think they are very addictive and they should come with health warnings. I've written about this and I've experienced it in my own family. My two children love video games, but I've done research on it that have found that, you know, that it's addictive as cocaine. When the dopamine receptors in the brain light up, just like they do with the drug, it happens when these kids see a video game. And it's also on Google, apparently. One of the recent studies found that the search engine found that 15% more searches are for gaming addiction than there are for crack cocaine addiction. So it's a huge, huge addictive problem.
Yeah, back in 2013, I made a TV show about porn addiction, and Cambridge University had just carried out a brain scan study into this precise thing. And they did show that young guys who were shown stimulus of gaming, their brains were reacting like a heroin brain. So maybe there's something in what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's... If you'd asked me this question 4 years ago before lockdown, I would have said, no, it doesn't need a warning, it's just bad parenting, you know, put the kids on for 20 minutes and be a strong parent. But then lockdown happened, and what I found was I gave my kids carte blanche. Go on there, talk to your friends, at least you'll still have a social life. But of course, after that, old habits die hard, and, you know, it's hard for them to then get back to reality afterwards, and I found it quite hard with my two.
Lisa, let's go over to you, shall we? Because your son has become a massive success from being a gamer.
He has, yes.
So tell us a bit more about your son then. So you wouldn't see it as an addiction, you'd see it as something that he's very, very good at and is lucrative as well.
Obviously, in the early days when Jayden first became successful, he was only 15 years old. And at the time, I can honestly say I didn't really know too much about the gaming world. But after following his success, I had to learn pretty quickly about the gaming community as a whole. And to be fair, as you can see in Jayden's pictures there, Jayden leads a very healthy, active lifestyle now. He probably didn't back then, but I think that was a lot down to age and stuff. But I do think with gaming, yes, there are negatives, and I think, you know, almost anything can become addictive. And I do know, because I've got two boys who particularly love gaming with completely different personalities. And I do feel that a health warning is something that is, I think, you know, I don't think it needs to come with a health warning. I do think more active parenting would play a huge part, because I think both of my children, both of my boys who love gaming, really enjoy me participating in them playing the game. And, you know, I think when you've got, you know, busy lives, you haven't got, you know, the opportunity to spend time watching them play the game. But, you know, you do have to put restrictions in place. But now I think the gaming community's changed and it's a lot more positive.
OK. Julie, what do you make of that, then, that it needs to come down to active parenting rather than...
Well, do you know, I used to say that myself, and I consider myself quite an active parent. You know, I certainly look at what they're doing. But I think it's all too easy to say that and almost to blame parents for what happens when you're giving your kids access to this stuff, which is proven to be as addictive as cocaine. You know, it's all very well and brilliant. Well done to Jayden. You know, he's done incredibly well from it. But I think 99% of other people who play those games won't do as well as Jayden and may find themselves addictive. And not everybody has active parents. What about children in neglectful homes or where the parents work a lot and they can't give the children time? That game becomes almost a family substitute or a friend substitute, and it's very, very hard for the kids to then come off that.
Lisa, what do you make of that then? Do you think Jayden is the exception rather than the rule? He's a lucky one in this.
To be fair, you know, as much as obviously I sympathise, and I do obviously appreciate that a lot of people haven't actually got active parents around them. And me, myself, if I'm honest, when Jayden was playing in the early days, I didn't really participate in what he was doing online. You know, I didn't really realise, you know, how big it was. So, you know, I can honestly say, hands up, I was one of those parents who didn't really observe as much. But going forward, you know, I think anything can become addictive, you know, in context, obviously. But with gaming, you know, there are a lot of positives as well that come from it. I mean, obviously, you know, a lot of these children are very intellectual. You know, they've got really good communication skills. And this is not just based on my son only. Obviously, you know, I play an active part in the community with the parents, and they've kids from all different backgrounds, you know, but we are very supportive of each other. And I think, you know, at a certain age, a kid can get into something like football or any other sport, and they can become really sort of focused on that. But it is obviously, you know, the parents who can control how much time they spend on it. But if they enjoy it, they can have a good career. I mean, my son is 19 now. He's very self-aware. He leads a very healthy lifestyle, as well as a lot of his friends. He's living independently at 19. You know, he's got his own property. He has done really well out of it. You know, and it's not just that. I think a lot of the organisations and stuff now evolved in esports are developing and supporting these gamers to become healthier, more, you know, rounded individuals. So,
Okay.
and I think it's something that's not going to go away.
OK, Judy, quickly, for people watching at home, what are the things that parents should be looking out for if they fear that their kids are getting addicted to games?
Locking themselves away in a room for long periods of time, refusing to come off the Xbox or the PlayStation, refusing to have meals with you, finding them on it late at night or in the middle of the night or the early hours, and then sort of stopping other activities because they'd rather game. I think they're all quite key things to look out for.
Yeah, really good practical advice there. Julie, Lisa, thank you so much for that. A gaming gamble. Yes, let us know what you make of that at home. gbnews@gbnews.uk. Are you a parent of a child who's addicted to video games? Is it something that you worry about? Or, like Lisa says, is it the way that the world is going? Is it actually making them very skilled?
It's interesting because there's loads of different conflicting data on this. So a lot of it is boys spend too much time doing it. It affects their sleep. They drink Red Bull the next day. They're grumpy. They're hard to control in class, especially if they have things like ADHD. But then there's other evidence showing it makes them think on a more cognitive level. It improves hand-eye coordination. So the evidence is mixed, and they've got two sides of the same story. That's what we do on GB News. Yeah.